Hey folks, it's Tom and Frugal Prepper. So today I want to talk about my SBR. This is a registered SBR. It is owned by my trust, and you know, I paid a tax stamp for this. So if you build a short barrel rifle with a real stock on it, it's going to be a felony. And even if you do a pistol brace that's kind of up in the air right now, it's not a felony, but it was a felony, but it might be a felony again. I don't know. But I do have a couple of rifles that I registered with pistol braces, so they're registered items now, and I didn't have to pay for the tax stamp on them, so that's all well and good. But I know some of you saying, ever register anything with the NFA, I will not comply. But I'll comply to have the fun toys and not go to jail. So, this has a PSA upper, and it's just the standard cheap upper. It's the 10.5 inch standard cheap upper with the attached front sight. And I thought about cutting this off and putting a low profile bracket on it, and I still might one day, but really this front sight works out really well. I took off the plastic thing right here and I put on this thing by Firefield. It's just a cheap little thing with a Picatinny reel and some M-lock stuff on it, and it holds real good for my sling, and it holds this light right here really good. This is the Scorpion XP22, and I won this from a Bomi giveaway, and I'm still using it. It still works awesome. It's just an awesome light. I don't know how long the battery lasts because I've never ran it dead. Just eventually every few months I'll get it out and charge it because I do. I don't know how long it lasts, but it seems to last a long time. It's rechargeable. You tap it once to turn it on. It is really bright. It has, the two lights on the front that come together and show 1 point downrange, and they see around that front sight post and obstacles. You double tap it and it strobes, and you can just hold it down for a momentary. So those are the really, you don't even need the strobe function, but it has it. But I mean, that's really all you need. You don't need it to do SOSs and Morse code and all kinds of crazy stuff like a lot of these lights from China have. This is a really good light. It's waterproof. It works really well. I've drug it through the water in the mud, and it's worked. I've taken this rifle out in the field for real training on stormy days, soaked in rain, crawling through mud, and it still works. So this rifle has a few scratches on it. I touch them up with the Black Magic Sharpie marker, and I keep on going with it. I don't baby this rifle at all. The Firefeld, I have the swivel mount for my sling. That's just a cheapy Amazon swivel mount, and a cheapy gun show sling that I got for $10 at a gun show. She has a Monstrom tactical 1x20 scope. This just is a single power scope, so it's single power when you look down it, but you can use both eyes open, which is really nice with this type of a scope. This is a close quarters combat rifle. You want that peripheral vision to come out to the side of you, so you're not looking like this and somebody comes up beside you and attacks you. She takes a CR-2032 over here, and she has a lighted reticle. So let me turn the reticle on here. It's not the brightest reticle, but it's bright enough. I'll see if you can see it here, but there's the reticle. We'll see if we can move over here something that's black there, but you can see that. And you turn it the other way and it turns red. It has like 5 settings. You dial it in with these. These little things have a little topper, so you just take that off, turn it over, and you can click the scope up and down. And this one's sighted in perfectly for 25 yards. I know where to hold if I want to shoot at 50 or 100, but I'm blind enough that I can't really see that far out. I mean, I can get a good enough idea to make probably a kill shot, but you know, it's not going to be perfect. It's not a magnified scope. It's not really designed for reaching real far out like that. It's close quarters is what I train with and use this rifle for. This would not be my primary choice for an indoor rifle. I don't like shooting rifle rounds in a house, in my neighborhood, having to go through the walls in the neighbor's house. I'd much rather use my AR-9 for that, unless I'm dealing with somebody that's got body armor. Then you probably would want this. But you know, chances of me ever having to deal with anything like that would be crazy. This is really just for shooting paper at the range and training with, and you know, learning how to do one-handed reloads, and you know, how to shoot with one good working leg and the other leg not working. You know, how to work all those scenarios out, do tourniquets, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. That training is fun. I have the flip up backup iron sight here. I don't know what brand this is. I think it might be a Magpull one, I'm not sure, but it's a flip up backup iron sight. The irons are on, they are dead on this too. And you know, you don't really have to use the irons, because this reticle in here just turns black like a regular scope reticle when the battery dies, or something burns out or whatever. So even if it's not lighted, you could still use this. But if this broke and I had to take it off, or you know, the glass broke all out in it or something, I could flip that up and have backup iron sights to shoot with. I have just a stock on this, and this is something that I found on clearance somewhere and bought years and years ago, and it works really well, and I really like it. This magazine tube or the buffer tube came from a gun show somewhere. The spring and the buffer is from Palmettor State Armory. The lowers of Palmettor State Armory. The uppers of Palmettor State Armory. I have an Anderson trigger. It's a stainless steel Anderson trigger group and lower parts kit. I have the ambidextrous safety because I am left-handed on this. And you know that, and I put the Magpull hand grip on here. I already opened it up and took everything out, but it has a secret hidden compartment where I can keep extra stuff with me just in case. I'll show you what I keep in there here in a little bit. One thing about these short-barreled rifles is firing them indoors, it's extremely loud. Even wearing plugs and muffs, it still gets loud after you go through a few hundred rounds. It's like, oh, you know. And I mostly fire this at the indoor range because it's 25 yards, and that's what I sighted into. And I just rather, you know, take it easy indoors where it's air conditioned or heated rather than being outdoors. I'm just that way. So what I did was I got one of these for it, and I'll put this on, but I can't put it on the video because YouTube doesn't like that. But it goes on there, it clicks on, and there we have that. This is by Yankee Hill Machine Company. It is a Turbo K, I think. It's like a 5.5 inch or something, plus the adapter, which makes it into almost 6 inches, I think. It's really quiet. I'll put some video here of me testing it out at the range. So you can see that can works really well. I mean, these are supersonic rounds, of course, but it's still really just a hiss of air, and you hear that bullet hit the backstop. You don't really hear much else, the click of the rifle. For such a small can that's affordably priced, this is a really nice suppressor. You can shoot with it without hearing protection on, but it's right at that limit where it's still gonna hurt your ear just a little bit if you do it too much. So if you had to use it indoors in an emergency situation with no hearing protection, it's not going to make you go completely deaf or really damage your hearing. But if you're going to use it for an extended period of time, you probably still want to wear some hearing protection. But it quiets it down a whole lot. So that's a really nice thing. This is also a registered silencer. It's registered into my gun trust, and I had to wait like 9 months to get it for my Form 4 to come back. But I really like this can. It does not like come apart. You can't take the baffles out of it and clean it. You just have to kind of put some cleaner in there and shake it around and dump it out. It's not one of those that come apart real easy, but it doesn't need to. It also will work with 22 LR. I have a CMMG conversion kit that I put in this, and I run it. It runs okay, although it does jam sometimes, just because those do. But for just, doing some cheap target plinking at the range, it's fine. The 22s do hit just a little bit low and to the left compared to my hand loads. My hand loads are the 55 grain soft point Everglades ammo bullets, version 2, and they I crimp them out a little bit longer than the standard, just because I get more accuracy that way, and I've never had, even after running like 400 or 500 rounds, I haven't had any malfunctions. Although once in a while, after running hundreds of rounds, I will have to just push on this forward assist to send that bolt home on a reload. It'll just hang out just a little bit, so I'll have to use the forward assist, and I don't have to like slam it or anything like that. I just reach up there and hit it with my thumb, and it goes on in. But these bullets really work well. They're really accurate. I think I run 22.3 grains of powder of accurate 2230, which is a really fast burning rifle powder, so it has time to burn most of it in that 10.5 inch barrel. Still get good velocity out of it. They're just a load that I've worked up that works perfect in this rifle. So that's what I run it at. And actually, for my target rounds, I have some that are just full metal jacket. They're not the soft point, and I run those for plinking. They have the same point of impact. They're from Everglades, but the soft points are just a little better if you had to use a round for something important. But yeah, that's my SBR. So what I keep in this rifle is, let me show you here. I keep this, which is a little thing of oil. So this is just some Hoppy's gun oil and a little tiny thing with a little tiny dropper in it. I got these on Amazon for like $5 or a box of 20 of them. So I can just keep some oil in those and keep that with my gun. So that if I'm ever out somewhere and I'm just running a lot of rounds, I need to put a few drops of oil in there and I'm not by my gun bag, I have some oil on me. Have a lens cleaning wipe to clean off that optic or my glasses, right, if I'm out there. I have an extra battery for my lighted scope, just in case I need an extra battery. Takes a 2032. I keep a round of ammunition, and this basically serves the purpose of having an emergency round of ammunition in case you run out, and you need one more shot. And it also works for adjusting this front sight. You use this. Those are designed to work with these. I keep a washer in here, and that's just for tightening this down. It tightens that down, the battery, and it works with my light too. Now my light, let me show you real quick. My light, you just unscrew it right here a little, and you squeeze it, and then it pops off. To charge it, I just keep this battery pack in my bag, and you just plug it in right there. It's magnetically charged. And you'd say, well, why don't you just charge it with it on the gun? Well, you could if you kept it farther back, but I like to keep it up real close to that front sight. That's where my fingers seem to reach it the best from where I hold. So it won't fit in that spot right there unless you take it off. But if I moved it back a notch, it would definitely fit. And then you don't have to tighten it. It clips on there pretty good, but you can go ahead and just tighten her down until she's snug, and she'll stay on there. I also keep a little set of the emergency springs and detents that are most commonly and easily to lose on your AR-15 if you do have to do a field strip and work on it in the field. Lens cleaning wipe. Oh, I keep this in here. It's just a thing to wipe down my glasses, or even use it to clean the gun if I have to in an emergency. And I keep this just to pick some of that carbon out of the bolt, and work that and put some oil on it and get it going again in case I have to. This is in there, and this is just has a little Phillips bit and a little flathead bit. And it also has, it's also the perfect size to push this pen out. So we can pull that out, open this up. As you can see, I have quite a bit of wear on my little buffer tube spring there. My buffer, I guess that is my buffer. Quite a bit of wear on that now. It'll probably be time to replace that pretty soon. After I get around 10,000 rounds, I think it'll be time to replace it. Hammer has some wear on it too, if you can see that. She got some wear to her, but she works really good. This Anderson stainless steel trigger works perfect for me. It's a really nice, smooth, not greedy, breaks clean. I love this trigger. I don't want a whole bunch of other stuff, so I don't want the big fancy triggers or anything. Just a mil-spec trigger is fine with me. I have the ambidextrous charging handle on this. This is just a cheap one I bought at the gun show. And the bolt in this, I'm not sure where I got it, but it's a Toolcraft. It's probably not like specially x-rayed and all that stuff, but like I said, that's a C158 MPI, whatever that is, the actual bolt. And it's ran fine. I do keep an extra bolt so I can drop that in there if I have a problem. And whenever I go to training or whatever for a day, I just take an extra bolt with me so I could drop it in. But I've never had any issues with this. I just take it apart, clean it once in a while, keep it oiled, and she runs just fine. So this was like on sale somewhere for 80 bucks. It's not a special bolt at all. Most of this is just the cheapest stuff I could find at the time, and it took me 3 or 4 years to get all this whole rifle together and get all the parts for it. I just bought a part here and there, and slowly but surely put it together and built it. And I bought the upper as the very last thing. This complete upper from Palmettor was the last thing I bought. I made sure that I had it registered first, and my tag stamp and my approval letter back. I got it engraved with the name of the trust and the city and state, and then I ordered my upper. So there's no way they can say you're in constructive possession of it until you're actually registered to put it together. Although I don't think it's really a problem if you have the parts but you haven't put them together. But if you put them together and you haven't registered it yet, it's technically a felony by punishable by 10 years in federal prison. So you don't want to take any chances with that. You know, shouldn't have to. It should be legal to build these. The NFA needs to go away, but I want to have as much as I can and play and train and have fun shooting. So I go ahead and I register stuff. One of these days I am going to buy a Mac 10. So, but I'm not there yet. I still have too many other bills to pay off first. But one of these days I'm going to fork out the 10, 12 grand to buy one. And take that out and have some fun with it too. But this is what I have for right now. I also have an AR-9 that's a registered SBR. I have another one that's a registered SBR. And I have the silencer and I have this gun. So those are my 4 NFA items so far. I am planning on buying a 9mm suppressor with a tri-lug for my AR-9 eventually. But I haven't done that yet. So that'll be nice when I'm shooting that guy indoors to really quiet it down too. So this is it. Alright folks, that's what it looks like, what it is. I'll talk to y'all later. It's time for your Frugal Prepper.